Your personal growth journey, we were on that. How do you rate yourself? Would you like to be doing more? Are you doing enough? Is your personal growth journey good? Your health. How would you rate your health compared to where you'd like it to be? Your physical environment. And now physical environment refers to your home, your office, your car, all of the environments that you find yourself in. Maybe your sports club. Where do you go to regularly? Are you happy with those, or are there some of those that need to change? Fun and recreation. How much fun and recreation do you have? Do you have enough? Not enough? Where out of 10 would you rate the amount of fun and recreation that you have? Your involvement in the community. Are you at all involved in the community? Now, this could be through church, through organizations, through volunteering, any kind of involvement outside of your home in the broader community. It's not necessarily voluntary work, but just what is your community involved? Your finances out of 10 compared to where you would like them to be. Are they in a good state? Are they in not such good state? Your spirituality, which may or may not include a religion. Are you a spiritual person? Do you believe in a higher power? Do you do mindfulness work? Whatever your standard of 10 is, how do you rate yourself against that? Giving back. Do you do anything to give back? Give back to people, give back to organizations. And finally, your belief systems. Where are your belief systems in relation to where you'd like them to be? Do you have many disempowering beliefs, or do you have a lot of empowering beliefs? Where would you like that to be? Okay, so once you've done that, then we're going to put that aside for a little while, and we'll come back to it shortly. All right, so let me just get my slide presentation up. Okay, let's see. All right. Okay, there you should be able to see my slides now. Awesome. Okay. So marvelous. So we're talking tonight about comfort zones. Are your comfort zones helping you, or are they getting in the way? Tonight is all about putting you in charge of your decisions and your choices. Albert Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem using the same thinking that you used to create it. You've got to look at an issue differently in order to be able to solve it. So you've got to start thinking differently. Can you imagine if we were still thinking along the same ways that our caveman ancestors were thinking? We wouldn't have all of our modern inventions. We wouldn't have the homes that we have. Our world is where it is because of the way that society is thinking, both individually and collectively. It's all about the 1 degree. It's all about making change at 1 degree at a time. So what is a comfort zone? So a comfort zone is a mental state. It's a psychological state where you are very familiar. In a comfort zone, your anxiety levels are low, there's very little stress, You perform reasonably well, and you're in an anxiety neutral space. There's very little uncertainty, there's very little fear, very little vulnerability. And we believe that we have access to the things we need: food, love, talent, time, admiration. The things that we need to feed us, we believe, are inside of our comfort zone. And inside of our comfort zone, we believe that we can control the world. So let's talk a little bit about a comfort zone and what actually is a comfort zone. First one I want to talk about is the zone of comfort. Now, it's a psychological state, so it doesn't have a boundary, but it's a safe place. It doesn't have a physical boundary. It is safe, secure. It's where you're certain, where things function the way you know that they must function. Outside of your comfort zone is a thin zone, which is your fear zone. And what happens in your fear zone is you start focusing outside of you. You start focusing on other people's opinions. You start focusing on perceptions. You start looking at the negative stuff. You start looking at the failure. And your self-confidence is low. And 9 times out of 10, we take a big, brave decision. I'm going to do this thing. And it's out of my comfort zone. And I step a nice big step into my fear zone. And it's all way too much. So you run back into the center of your comfort zone. Next time you poke your head out again and you try it again. And you take a little more cautious step into your comfort zone, into your fear zone. But it's still too much. So you rush back to the middle of your comfort zone. The closer you get to the edge of your comfort zone, the more uncomfortable you're getting. Once you break through your fear zone, however, you break into a zone of learning. This is where you learn new things. This is where the growth starts on the other side of your fear zone. You learn to appreciate things differently. You learn new skills and knowledge. You become confident again. You become self-motivated and you're empowered. And once you have gained that skill and that knowledge, what happens, you then step with confidence and empowerment into a growth zone. And in this growth zone is where you are self-actualized. This is where you start realizing your dreams. This is where your goals start becoming fulfilled. Why? Because you're in the right space. You're in the right mindset to fulfill these goals. The reality, people and my friends, is that the first two, the small ones, are disempowering zones. The big, amazing, spectacular ones are empowering zones. So my question to you is, which one do you live in? Do you live in your comfort zone? Or do you live in your fear zone? Running back into your comfort zone. The truth of the matter is, though, every time you step out of your comfort zone into a fear zone, every time there's a new level, there's a new devil. There's a new fear devil. Just another word for a demon. And either your devil looks like that or your devil looks like that. You choose. It's a frightening devil or it's a naughty, cheeky little devil. Who do you choose? Because it is a choice. You get to choose. You get to choose to understand whether you're going to let that fear control you or whether you're going to understand that it's bringing a little toot toot, hey, this is a warning sign. And whether you're going to listen to that warning and say, I've heard you. It's up to you. All right. So my students will know this. The reality about the power of our mind is that our conscious thought and our conscious behavior is only 5% of the power of our mind. Our subconscious mind is 95%. It is much, much, much stronger. So who do you choose to listen to? Do you choose to listen to your subconscious mind, which is your gut instinct, which is your intuition, talking to you, giving you messages? Or do you rationalize it in the 5% in your logical mind, and your logical mind is controlled by your fears? You choose. If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. Hit your head against a wall, it's going to hurt. Hit your head against another wall, it's going to hurt. Stop hitting your head against the wall and it'll stop hurting. Change your thoughts, change your opinions, change your behaviors, change your inner dialogue. What do you say about yourself? What do you think about yourself? So, my friends, it's about choice. Take the red pill. The red pill is about taking action, moving to your vision, learning and knowing, understanding your truth, breaking through the fear into your freedoms. Or you take the blue pill. You continue life as is, hiding your potential away in your comfort zone and letting your fears govern you and govern your decisions. It's a choice. Most people will say that you have two choices. It's either this or it's that. But I believe that, in fact, there are three choices. You make a choice to do something. You make a choice not to do something. Or you make a choice not to make a choice. Don't just leave the choice hanging, because if you leave the choice hanging, what is you're inviting your fear zone in. You're inviting your fear zone in to come and mess with your mind. So let us say you have a choice to make, whatever it is. You're either going to make a choice that says, I'm going to do it or I'm not. If you can't make either of those choices, choose not to make a choice today, but decide by when you're going to make that choice. I'm not going to make this choice today. I don't have enough information, but I'm going to make this choice by Monday. And then make sure you make it by Monday. Because the longer you leave the choice hanging, the more the fear creeps in. Remember, it's about choosing your devil. Are you choosing a scary devil, or you're choosing a devil that's coming to give you a friendly warning? That's up to you. Now, many of my students will know I talk a lot about the gut brain. When the fetus is developing, one of the first things that develops is the anus. After the anus, the gut or the stomach develops. And progressively after the stomach, everything starts developing, including the brain. But there's an incredibly strong nerve that connects the brain to the stomach. It's called the vagus nerve. And what happens is all the signals from all the organs in your body travel up this vagus nerve to your brain, telling your brain, I'm safe, I'm secure, everything's working, or it's getting hot, or it's getting cold, or I'm hungry, I'm thirsty. And then your brain sends a message out again, having looked at all of those messages, telling you what to do. There's a lot more traffic that flows from your body to your brain than from your brain to your body. So I would hugely encourage those of you who've not yet done so to please go and do some research on the strength of the gut brain. What is the gut? At the end of the day, it is your intuition. Your gut brain is your subconscious talking to you. And your choice is, do you listen or don't you? I'll tell you what for free. Every time I've listened to my instinct and my gut, right decision. The minute I get into my logical brain and I start reasoning and rationalizing, it goes wrong. Every time I ignore my gut brain, it'll end up in trouble. Every single time. So get to befriend your subconscious. It's a friend. It's there to advise you and guide you. All you have to do is listen. And so all you have to do is think differently. It's about the 1 degree. It's about looking at your comfort zones and deciding which one do you choose to live in. Right now, you might be living between fear and comfort, fear and comfort. But do you choose to live there, or do you want to move? Do you want to be living in growth and learning? Now, there's a difference between living and visiting. You live in one comfort zone and you move and you go and visit another one and you come back and live. Which ones are you living in and which ones are you visiting? And the ones that you're visiting, are the visits getting shorter or are the visits getting longer? You choose. So let's have a little look at the advantages of staying in your comfort zone. You draw on your previous experiences because you learn nothing new. You're confident because everything is known. There's very little risk, so you're safe. It is a place to rest and recuperate. So if you're spending your life in your learning zone and your growing zone, from time to time, you need to move out of that faster paced, wonderful energy world and move back into a comfort zone to recuperate. Again, it's a case of where are you living and where are you visiting? And in your comfort zone, easy tasks, routine tasks are easy because you've always been doing them like that. You know how to do it like that. You can do it blindfolded. The disadvantages of staying in your comfort zone is it holds you back because there's no growth. You become so comfortable. The more comfortable you get, the harder it is to leave. Moving out of your comfort zone becomes more and more difficult because your fear zone becomes stronger and stronger. There's no learning. Where there's no learning, there's stagnation. Where there's stagnation, it's the beginning of a death spiral. Now, I'm not talking about physical death, folks. I'm talking about your mental state. I'm talking about, as remember, comfort zone is a psychological state. Depression creeps in, sadness creeps in, isolation creeps in. There's no risk, and therefore there's no reward. You're not learning any new skills, and you're missing the opportunity to make your comfort zone bigger. So what happens? Your comfort zone is this side. Your fear zone is a little bit bigger. Once you've pushed through that fear zone, you become comfortable with those fears. And so your comfort zone grows a bit. And then the next challenge you take on, your comfort zone grows a bit. And your comfort zone grows a bit. Where are you living? Where are you visiting? Okay. So now I want you to have a look back at your results of your wheel of life that we did. and I'm probably going to upset you. In every area of your life where you scored 6 or lower, in that area of your life, you are living in your comfort zone. Because you have a comfort zone in each area of your life. Not one comfort zone. If you are in a zone 7 to 8, you're probably in the learning zone. And if you're in 9 to 10, you're in the growth zone. So have a look for yourself. What are the areas that you're in your comfort zone? You've probably been there for a while. And so it's really difficult to push through that fear zone, get into your zone of learning. So how do you manage your fear zone? With a new mindset brings new results. It's all about small incremental steps. It's not about big, huge steps. You want to take a little step, get used to that. Take the next little step, get used to that. Take the next little step. Continuous, ongoing work. These big splash things generally don't last, because it's exhausting to get there and it's exhausting to stay there. Whereas the small ones you can do ongoing, repeatedly. And the reason the big ones don't last is you get too tired fighting that battle. So you run back to the center of your comfort zone. It's all about the 1 degree. It's all about ongoing small changes. Continuous improvement, repeatedly, over and over and over again. Looking at the future differently. Seeing things from a different perspective. Understanding what the fear and your intuition is trying to tell you about that fear. And then making a decision to go ahead and do it or not. So I have a question for you. In the journey of your life, are you the driver? Or is your fear the driver? Who's pushing the buttons in your life? Have you got some crazy, wild conductor who's orchestrating your life? Or is your life a journey of harmony? Because when you're in control and you're making the decisions, it's very much more calm. It's in flow. So you might think the difference between failure and success is a fear plot. But I want to help you to think about that differently. I want you to think of it as a fear pilot. How do you use that fear? How do you use that intuition? How do you use your gut brain? How do you use your subconscious to help you make decisions, to step through your fear zone into your zone of learning and into your zone of growth? The choice is yours. Where are you living? Where are you visiting? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. That's me.
Thank you, Lesley. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to raise your hand. Engage with Lesley. It's not a stress. It's all good.
Yep. If anybody's interested in my contact details, if they're there, I'm going to take the slide down in a moment. So if you want to write down my contact details, there's my cell number and my email address, should you wish to contact me outside of this forum. Good. All right. Oh, I see. Yeah, thanks, Candace. She's posted a couple of links into the chat. All right, I'm taking that down now. Stopping the screen share. All right, folks. So, questions. I'm looking forward to lots of questions. Nobody got any questions?
I do.
Letitia, yes.
How do you figure out how to get back to the comfort zone after being in a learning zone?
So when you've been in a learning zone, you need to rest, okay? So you can't continuously learn because you run out of stress and your body gets tired and your brain gets tired. So it's about turning around and saying, I've done this piece of learning. I now need to integrate this piece of learning. Stop what I'm doing, integrate that piece of learning, and then go and learn the next thing. And it's while you're integrating that learning that you're inside of your comfort zone recuperating. Does it make sense? Letitia, at the end of the day, it's a choice.
It definitely
Yes.
does make sense. Just with the type of lifestyle that I live, I find myself more in the learning zone than going back into the comfort zone. I'm in the comfort zone for very, very, very little time. If I could put it in a timeline, it would just be over the weekend, and then I have to be back at it from Monday to Friday again.
But that's all you need. Sometimes you...
I wish it was more.
That's why we take leaves.
Yeah.
That's why we take leave. Okay? We take leave to get away from the drive and everything. We take leave to let that balloon go. And sometimes spending time just watching a movie, reading a book, doing a meditation, those are all comfort zone items. Those are just things giving you a chance to recuperate. A mindfulness practice, if you have one of those, it's time to recuperate. Good, thank you. Good, nice question, that. Lerato.
Thanks, Lesley. Just a quick one from my side. So the ones that back to the wheel of life, where we've scored lower than six or lower, why are you terming them comfort zone? Is it because they are scored low, it's perhaps uncomfortable action is required?
Yep. They've scored low because at this time in your life, they're not getting a priority. So the reality is you will never get 10 out of 10 in every area of your life, because as you're focusing on this area, that area falls behind a little bit. But when you do this exercise again now in 2 or 3 months' time, and that same area is scoring low, there's a comfort zone. There's something that's holding you small. Remember, the comfort zone keeps you small. It keeps you playing a small game. It doesn't allow you to step, into your authenticity.
Okay, makes sense. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Any other questions, folks? Casper, do you have a question? I see you.
Yes, I'd just like to know, where did the comfort zone come from? Is it your domestic environment or your family environment? If you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Okay, so let's understand how we as humans evolve. Born as a little baby, we cry and mommy picks us up and loves us and either feeds us or changes our nappy. And we know that every time we repeat that behavior, the outcome is pretty predictable. I'm either going to get food, or I'm going to get love, or I'm going to get a new nappy, or I'm going to get a bottle. hypothetically, okay? And so as babies, we develop the zone of comfort. This behavior equals that reaction from the outside world. Then at around 2 years old, there's an interesting thing that happens. The baby's face changes its proportional arrangement. And the parents' oxytocin levels start dropping. And so what happens is they no longer jump to the beck and call of that baby, because that baby is now walking. That baby is now having to learn stuff. And so when baby starts crying, mommy doesn't answer in the same way anymore. Mommy and daddy turn around and say, please stop crying. Or if they carry on crying, they might even well get a hiding. And so what happens is now is that child who was in a very secure, safe, predictable, certain zone of its life pattern, suddenly finds that those things are not working anymore. And so it starts living in an uncomfortable space. That uncomfortable space, we need to be uncomfortable to learn. We need to be in a place of uncertainty to learn. The more you drive for control, certainty, predictability, the closer to the center of your comfort zone you are. As soon as you start becoming comfortable with being uncertain, being okay with whatever happens around you, you will move through that zone of fear into learning. But where did that come from? It's part of our evolution going from baby to toddler to adult. Does that make sense, Casper? So we
Yes,
all
thank
have
you.
them.
Yeah.
So folks, we all have comfort zones. It's part of our DNA. It's part of our life patterns.
And you can't grow if you get stuck into your comfort zone. You have to go outside your comfort zone, and you have to be pushed out of your comfort zone to grow.
So let me put it to you this way. If mommy and daddy continue treating the 2-year-old the same way its entire life, it would stay a 2-year-old. Its thought and behavior patterns would continue to stay as a 2-year-old. Evolution has it as such that the adults but change their behavior and they change their reaction. And so the baby has to grow. But in that growth, the baby is insecure and unsafe initially. You don't see a baby trying to walk and saying, oh, I'm terrified, I can't do this. The baby doesn't understand fear until it's about 7 years old. So what happens is the baby just tries again, falls down, gets up and says, well, that didn't work, try again. And it keeps trying, and eventually it learns what to do with its muscles, how to balance itself. And you know what happens? It takes its first step, and mommy and daddy go berserk. Look. Praise, 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 praise. Do it again, do it again, do it again. New comforts are created. If I walk, I will get love. Until I walk out of the front door one day into the street. And then I get a hiding. Now what? Walking was made mommy and daddy happy. Now they're not happy. Awesome question. Thanks, Casper. Any other questions, folks? Candace, you said you wanted to ask a question, but you wanted the recording off. Would you like to do that now?
Yeah, I just wanted to figure if I switch off now, which I think I'll do, if you wanted to ask questions that are more personal and you didn't want it to be recorded. So I'm just going to stop recording for that purpose.
All right, so the recording has stopped.